All right. So, this is gonna be I'm just gonna give a I guess brief introduction, just because this is the first of this kind of video that I'm gonna be doing. But basically, I'm gonna start just uploading VOD reviews for people to view, so that they can also other people can consult these as a resource, because I feel like it's better to publicize this so that if I forgot what elo this person said they were, but if, like, let's say they're plat or diamond and another player of that elo needs to consult that resource, instead of waiting for me to do a VOD review, they can consult one that I've already done and see if they're making some of the same mistakes. So I'm going to be uploading all of these to YouTube. This is the first one I'm going to be doing. So this person's name is just the numbers, and yeah, I'm going to watch what they do and just give my feedback, see what maybe I would have done differently, to mostly for them to use as a resource to improve. Start that off. And then for anyone that doesn't know me or is finding this, I've been playing TFT since set 1. I was kind of like a for fun player. And then set 3 I took it a little more seriously, hit Challenger. Set 3.5 I hit Challenger. This set I've only hit GM so far, but I am pretty close to being Challenger again. I just haven't had as much time to put in because I missed a lot of time. Had some personal stuff happen towards the beginning of the set and didn't get to play for like the first 2 weeks. So it looks like you started Sword. Sword is a good start. I usually prefer Rod, it's a little more flexible, but swords are also nice. You got 2 swords, so yeah, Deathblade is definitely a possibility, depending on your unit options. Yeah, you definitely want to take the Maokai pair and probably keep the Yasuo. Because nothing here is very good. Hoping you do not sell the Yasuo to buy the Tahm Kench, because while having the Brawler pair is nice, I do think Yasuo is one of the better early AD carries. And since you have double sword, you're going to need something to hold that. Um, so if I'm honest, I'm going to pause this. So what I'm doing here, so what I'm doing here is I'm playing Wukong with Deathblade most likely. I'm definitely picking up that Wukong because I have 2 AD items, and Wukong is a really good early game holder for those. Obviously, you don't really want to play Bonky Kong in this meta, but it is a very strong early game. So we'll see if you do that. I am hoping you pick this up, because Deathblade Bonky Kong can get you a very safe 4-1. Okay, so you pick it up. It's good. And I am gonna, if I see something that you should do, I'm gonna pause it and say what I do first, just to avoid any. You can make econ here. Oh, you pre-leveled. Okay, I would not have pre-leveled there because you already have a chosen. It would have been better to make 10. Obviously you're making a very quick decision there, so I'm not gonna comment on it too much. But just for future reference there, you generally pre-level if you don't have a chosen yet, because really all you're leveling for there is a 15% chance of like an Aurelia or something. So yeah, you do want to slam Deathblade here. Okay, so you just made the sword. But let's see if that makes a difference in any of these fights. I think because you win this one either way. But let's see if there's a fight where you might slam Deathblade later too. But I'm definitely making Deathblade there, because your Wukong just gets so many stacks really fast. Um, hmm. Hoping you make 10 here. Oh, I think I'm gonna steal this one off you. Yeah. If you don't make 10 here, that is also pretty bad, so I'm hoping you sell this off. Okay, so yeah, when you buy this TF, um, you can't hold all this on your bench, especially the Akali. I don't really know what the thought uh, process on this was, but let's go back. So you got one. I'm selling both of these because if you could have left this in and not bought the TF, which would also give you 3 gold, but you needed to choose between one of them. You can't hold both because now you've missed an opportunity to make 10 on multiple occasions. So this is going to cost you a lot of gold, and you're going to miss a lot of intervals throughout the game because of that. Um, so, I mean, TF in there was fine, but you could have sold these, and that's 7, and then 8, 9. I don't really know what like these aren't. I don't even consider these useful, other than like you can hold Ben Italy, but everything else on this bench should go. So that's what I do differently there, because now you've missed you missed an interval on creep round to pre-level. That's just way too costly. Um, so the Deathblade Slam definitely uh, isn't hurting as much as that aspect. So what I'm doing here, I'm guessing. So yeah, I'm probably pre-leveling here, and dropping the some of the 3-cost stuff. Yeah, so I think you are way too attached to this Lux, in my opinion. Oh, okay, so you sell it and pre-level, and that's a bit of a problem because you effectively lost like 3 gold holding that Lux. That's just early gold, so that's any increment you miss here now can pretty much be attributed to that Lux. And I don't want to microman, or I don't want to like look at too much micro level stuff, but just note that or don't be scared to like sell 3 costs that aren't gonna have an immediate impact on your board early, because you can like if you're planning to play it later, you can find it most likely. um so yeah, for example, right here, um up at your increment. Okay, so this is another what were your other options on carousel? Hold on. See where you picked. Okay. So you didn't slam Deathblade, and GA is really bad here because that makes no impact on your Wukong. He's not gonna do much with that. You needed to get either IE, really just IE there or something. I don't know what build you end up going for, but at this point in the game, you have a Wukong, and that's your carry at the moment. So you need to be itemizing for him and planning your late game around that. You don't want to have a late game in mind, and then make suboptimal items on your current carry that makes very little impact. And just having a GA on Wukong has such a less impact than having IE or Deathblade on him. And also, if you had Deathblade on here, you might not be 3 win streak, but you'd definitely be healthier than 86 HP. So that's a big thing as well. So right now, I'm gonna assume that early game is a lot of the problem. And I mean, making a GA here isn't bad if that's what you're given, but this is a chance where you had to choose between technically 3 different items, because you could have went Deathblade or IE, and you went for GA, and I think that's gonna punish you throughout the game, but we'll see. A really big thing that I see a lot of people in lower elos do is they will slam items without impact. For example, if you have 2 bows, I see a lot of people do this. If you have 2 bows and your board is pretty weak and you don't have a good RFC user, there's no reason to slam RFC there, because then you're stuck with an RFC instead of 2 better components that you could build bows out of. And RFC doesn't do a lot. It doesn't give you damage. If nothing can utilize it, it's not worth slamming. So when you slam items, they need to be high impact. And slamming GA on a frontliner, the only time that's ever really good is when it's something that needs to get its ult off, like Aatrox, Sejuani, which I still don't like GA on them too much, but it would be a little better. But yeah, definitely not a Wukong here. And I would put that VF sword on Wukong. No real downside to it. So you end up going into Krugs without any sort of streak, but you are 20 gold, which is okay. But here's a perfect instance of that Lux. And also, you're holding a lot of expensive units right now. Losing Econ for this Akali would not be good. I don't know if I'm sure you end up selling it. But yeah, so that that gold you missed for Lux is coming back here as well, because it would be a lot easier to hit this interval. And I do see you type me Talon there. Leads me to believe you're going to play Talon. And in that case, you definitely should have taken the IE off that carousel and worried about getting GA later, because Glove is a much more contested oh no. Oh no. Okay. That's a really big thing. If you're planning to play Talon here, IE GA Flex is best in slot. You have the opportunity to make an IE here, which is actually a really good item on Wukong as well. I'm not sure if you've just never played IE on Wukong, but it is a very good item for him. But here, instead, it looks like you're planning to play Talon, and you actually end up making an item that's worse on Wukong and worse on Talon, at pretty much every stage of the game, in my opinion. So now you've had a pretty bad early game, and if you don't get IE on Talon, you're probably going to have a pretty weak late game as well. See what happens. Your econ is not in the worst spot, but again, so you make interval there, but again, you could end up holding that unit. Also, I don't know how I feel about Zeke's here, because if you're planning to play Talon, you waste a sword. Actually, yeah. If you're planning to play Talon from this spot, you just wasted a sword and a belt, which can be Morello's and IE, or any. I would not sell that for Jhin here. In my opinion, your board got a lot weaker from this. Because you sold your only leveled unit to play a weaker board, and you're not rolling here, so you don't get a lot from freeing up your Chosen. And also that Jhin costs more than the Wukong. So freeing up your Chosen on 6 isn't going to do much for you. I don't even really know what 3-cost Chosen you could hit here. So there's not a lot that's going to bail you out from this spot. And I'm guessing that you take a ton of damage in these next 3 rounds, and then on your 4-1 roll down, you get pretty mediocre hits, and you just bleed out. But yeah, your econ's not in that good of a spot for your board to be this weak at all, because you're not going to have enough gold to roll down to make up for how much HP you bled these 3 rounds. Because it looks like you're going to be going into your wolves at about sub 40 HP, maybe sub 50. Yeah, because you take about 12, or you take 11 damage here. I assume you take somewhere between, like, you might get a good hit that saves you, but if you don't hit anything, you're going to be sub 40 HP going into wolves with pretty bad econ. You also don't have a, yeah, see, so that could be like a Morello for your board. I just don't think the Zeke's is, I don't value Zeke's very highly unless you're slamming it super early. Yeah, it's pretty unlucky to hit a 1-cost Chosen there, but I do not think this Jhin was worth it at all. Because you lost 4 Divine with a leveled carry. And right here, you could actually play like 4 Divine, 4 Vanguard, which would actually probably have won you these next 2 rounds, depending on what they have. Probably not against this guy because he has Last Whisper, but probably get 6-0'd here. Take a ton of damage. Okay, so you might be sub 30 HP. So yeah, I'm just gonna say now, since you've already seen all your rolls, and you're not obviously gonna take your next Chosen, because then you'll be locked out of rolling a Chosen 4-cost. The only benefit of selling your Wukong for this Jhin was freeing up your Chosen slot. and you saw a Divine Jax and a Brawler Tom Kench, and because of that, you traded off about, I'm gonna say 10 to 15 HP. So even though there were a lot of mistakes leading up to this, uh, that's probably the biggest one, because at the end of the game, we'll see. Yeah, this guy hit Talon too, also. So you've been aiming to play Talon, and now you're probably either gonna have to overroll to hit your carry, end up playing something with suboptimal items. I'd say the best you could hope for now is hitting like a Chosen Ash on your early roll down. But I do just want to say here that if you were planning to play Talon, this would be an IE, and you would have had a belt for Morello here. So now you're missing your two best in slot items for your carry 1 and carry 2 in that comp. Hit the Talon. You're skipping the Nunus, which is concerning because you need to recognize that Ashe is a viable carry here for your comp. And also, you stopped rolling here. I don't know if that's just because you didn't think you had enough time, but yeah, you can't stop rolling here. Also, I don't know when you took this, but I probably would have just made Last Whisper on Talon here. If this is new Morg, like if this is after they patched Morg, Crit Glove isn't really that great on her anymore. It's not bad. Like, you could make it if you had a fully itemized Talon, but I don't think it's worth wasting a glove there. I probably would have made Last Whisper. Yeah, you've seen 2 Ashes here, which is why I'm saying you need to note, because Ashe isn't super good right now, but it's better than playing like, it's better than just gambling trying to find Talon. You do pick up the Ashe there. So your board isn't the worst right now, but I would definitely say it is problematic because you need better Talon items if you're going to be running a Talon 1 for a while. And you're level 7, 4-2, 20 gold without a Talon pair. Won that round, at least, which is good. But I am going to say, at the end of this game, if your gold, even though you didn't get great hits on your roll down, like you didn't hit Talon 2, you didn't end up hitting a 4-cost Chosen. The big difference in placement in this game, depending on what you place, is probably going to be that 10 to 15 HP you bled from selling the Wukong. But let's see what happens. Yeah, so you actually seem fairly stable relative to your lobby. Definitely needed to be glove there. Okay, so I guess the spat carousel just threw you off a little and you went for the gold, and that's fine. Again, though, you're left with another belt. You did slam Jeweled Gauntlet, which I don't know, you were so low HP that I'm not going to fault you for slamming the Jewel Gauntlet there. But again, now you don't have that rod to make Morello again. Yeah, you can't play Zillion here. I'm guessing you sell it for econ if you don't win next round. Okay, so just this doesn't matter too much, but that cat is gonna die immediately. So it's probably, it doesn't matter too much here because you sold the Zillion, but in the instance that you needed to make an econ threshold for that, like if you wanted to hold that Zillion, it's not gonna end up mattering whether it's a cat one or a Diana one. Not a huge deal since you're above threshold anyways, but the instance that, like, if you didn't have an assassin in this shop and you were under a threshold, now you're stuck with that cat, having to miss a threshold if you're 2 gold off. Not relevant in this situation, but just something to think about. Like, this late in the game, it doesn't make a difference whether it's cat 1 or Diana 1. Pike is different because Pike is CC. So that's why you play Pike over like any other assassin, because they all pretty much die instantly, but if Pike gets his ult off, it's good. Looks like, oh, is this Riven? No. So now, right here, that 10 to 15 HP difference I was talking about with the Wukong puts you up here, and then whatever HP interval you miss bot 4 on. But regardless, even if 10 to 15 is a lot, many times, like in plenty of games, that ends up being the difference between an 8th and a 5th. Okay, so all of these items kind of suck. I'm probably making ZZ Rot. Okay, RFC is next to no value there. I definitely probably would have made ZZ Rot. Maybe like shivved the Talon or something. You hit Yone, which is pretty good. At this stage of the game, it's not the biggest deal, but I'd probably Zeke's the Lux, because her getting her ult off is going to have more impact than Janna's. Unless, I didn't see if there was a reason that you were positioning left side, but I think either way. Lux mixed her ult, that's pretty unlucky. Yeah, so you have no gold here to run Talon 2, and you did have an Ash pair earlier, so I'm gonna say probably should have switched into an Ash carry, because you can play Ash with this front line. All you have to do is play Ash here, and then you replace the Janna with any hunter, and you replace the assassin with any hunter, so Kindred and Warwick, and then you just play this exact board, and it's probably way stronger because you'll have an Ash 2 instead of a Talon 1, and the only real sacrifice you make is Morg getting less mana over time, but I definitely think it would have been stronger here because you had an Ash pair and you sold that Ash pair to keep a Talon 1 that you were pretty unlikely to hit. So yeah, I definitely would have swapped to playing Ash here. And you can also play, instead of a third hunter, you can play a mystic. But your board does end up being a lot weaker because you end up running a Talon 1 for what I imagine is the entire game. Probably not relevant, but I'm probably not locking that Yone. Because I think, yeah, your only saving grace here is Talon 2. And you have a 6% chance to hit the most contested 5 cost in the game, which is already pretty taken out of the pool. So hopefully you sell the Yone for the Talon, but yeah. Also the difference here between what I was talking about with the Katarina, if you had Diana instead of Cat there, you wouldn't have had to lock for the Yone, and then you could have bought this Talon. Word clutches this one for you. Okay. So it does look like this game ends up being very close. I would definitely go for a Last Whisper over Giant Slayer here. Yeah. I can't 100% see your lobby, but oh, actually, you're stuck with Talon. I don't even know what Giant Slayer's for then. What would I actually go for? I forgot you put RFC on Talon. All of these items suck. I probably would have taken ZZ Rot here because your front line is not the best. Probably just ZZ Rot. I'm guessing you put the Giant Slayer on Yone, which is not the worst, but I do think you need more frontline because your Talon does not have enough time to kill everything at 1 star without IE. That's probably okay. I don't like it too much, actually, because so Morg hits for very small ticks of damage. So the math on this right now, Yone with Giant Slayer is good because if he hits something, it's a very big chunk of damage, and that big chunk of damage calculates the 90% before hit. But since Morg does ticks of damage, 90% of I forget what her damage is at 2 star, but either at 1 star or 2 star, it's somewhere around like 250. And then adding 90% onto that versus adding 90% onto what is Yone's ult damage? TFT stats. Here is ult. I know it's okay. So Yone 1 does 800 damage. That big chunk plus 90% comes out to I don't know what the number is. It's close to 1600 versus Morg, which is just doing small ticks of damage over time, and then it dwindles it down below the 1750 threshold, and it no longer is doing the 90% bonus damage. It's just doing the 10%. And obviously, like 10% of the 250 is only 275, which is not great. So, in general, Giant Slayer is better on things like Ashe because Ashe hits so much with a lot of AD. Also, you don't want her to get stuck on a brawler for too long. We're also better on things that do big chunks, like Ari. So at this point, it looks like you're taking a bot 6, maybe a bot 5 if you're lucky. Get Dazzler onto Gen, that's pretty good. Take a 5th. Again, so 15 damage difference, you're still alive here. You probably still lose. So this is probably a 5th either way, because this is the only guy that would have taken 4th under you, and you just beat him, or he just beat you. Unless you got like insanely lucky, like someone did a ton of damage to him. But yeah, I do feel like there was a lot that could go better. I don't think you should have played Talon there with Talon 1-star. You probably should have looked for windows to pivot as well, but I think selling that Ashe pair was pretty harmful. I think taking as much damage as you did through stage 1 and stage 2 with a decent board is that. But yeah, hopefully there's some stuff in here that can help you. If you have any questions about any of this, just feel free to DM me. But yeah, that's all I have for this one, and thank you to anyone else for watching this.